Hello everyone, welcome back to Yes English, and in this lesson we are going to discuss one of the very useful grammar topics. Okay, so I hope you will watch the video till the end. If you're watching my video for the first time, let me recommend all of you to kindly subscribe and enable the bell icon so that you get notified of my upcoming videos. So our topic for today's session is going to be the question tag. Okay, question tag. How to form question tags, how the question tags are used effectively in communicating with others. So let's have a look at objectives of the lesson today. Okay, by the end of this session you will be able to define tag questions, form correct tags, and use appropriate tags in speaking and writing. So let's begin with what is a question tag. A question tags are small questions that come at the end of a sentence. And where do we use these question tags? So question tags are used at the end of statements. They are used to give emphasis to a statement, to ask for agreement, or to ask for confirmation. That means to ask whether something is true or not. Now let's look at some of the common errors with tags. Okay, number one, you are a vegetarian, isn't it? Someone has used my laptop, hasn't it? You play chess, well, aren't you? So these red letters here show that this is a wrong tag. Okay, you are a vegetarian, isn't it? So we hear people mostly using this word isn't it for all kinds of statements, which is a mistake. Okay, and someone has used my laptop, hasn't it? You play chess well, aren't you? So these are some of the common mistakes that we make with question tags. So let's try to get them corrected at the end of this lesson. Okay, now let's look at some of the steps to form the question tags. Okay, if you follow these steps, you will be able to make correct question tags. Okay, number one is identify the primary or modal auxiliary if there is any in the sentence. Replace full stop with a comma. Repeat the primary or modal auxiliary in the tag. Positive sentence takes negative tags. Negative sentences take positive tags. Use contractions for negative tags. Okay, and then finally close the tag with the subject. So in case the subject is a proper noun, use a pronoun instead. Okay, and then finally put a question mark. So these steps will help you form correct question tags for all kinds of statements. Okay, now we can discuss those steps in detail. Number one, identify the primary or modal auxiliary verb. So have a look at these words given in this list. Okay, these are called as primary or modal auxiliary verbs. So you have to analyze or examine the given sentence and identify whether this sentence has any of these words. Okay, is, am, are, was, were, has, have, had, do, does, or did. These are called as primary auxiliary, and then modal auxiliary verbs like will, would, shall, should, can, could, must, need. There are a few more to discuss. And next one is replace the full stop with a comma. Already I have told you about it. Then repeat this modal auxiliary or primary auxiliary verbs in the tag. Positive and negative sentences. please look at these sentences. They are playing, they are not playing. I like pizza, I don't like pizza. So in this, you can see that the first sentence, they are playing, is a positive sentence which will take a negative tag, and second one, they are not playing, is a negative sentence and therefore it takes a positive tag. Similarly, I like pizza is a positive sentence. I don't like pizza is a negative sentence. And when the sentence is positive, we will use negative tag. And when you use the negative tag, please remember to use contractions. Okay, contractions are use of short forms. Instead of saying is not, okay, or are not, we use is not, isn't, cannot, can't, will not, won't, has not, hasn't, have not, haven't, does not, doesn't, did not, didn't, do not, don't, was not, must be wasn't. Okay, these are the contractions. Okay, these are the contractions. So if you find a positive sentence and when you change, or when you add a question tag for that positive sentence, remember to use negative, these contractions for the negative tags. Okay, we will discuss this in detail in the example sessions. Now the next one is, close the tag with the subject. Okay, for example, if you find the tag subject to be a pronoun, okay, a name of a person, name of a place, or name of a thing, these pronouns cannot be repeated in the tag. So instead, we use a pronoun instead of a proper noun. Okay, so proper nouns should be replaced with pronouns in the tag, like I, you, he, she, it, they, we. These are the pronouns which can be used instead of a proper noun. For example, if you happen to see the subject in a sentence as Rahim, so Rahim is a proper noun as it is the name of a person. So this subject Rahim cannot be repeated in the tag. Okay, when you close the tag with the subject, the proper noun cannot be repeated in the tag. Instead, it has to be replaced with the appropriate pronoun from this list. So if it is Rahim, you can say he. If it is people, you can say they. And if it is the name of things like box or laptop or computer, a tree, and so on, use it as the pronoun for that proper or common noun. Okay, so after this step is followed, put a question mark to have the tag put an end properly. Okay. Okay, now let's look at some of the examples where we can use these tags, question tags, and let's also look at the steps, so that you understand how to form question tags without mistakes. Okay, number one is she's an athlete. Okay, step number one is identify the primary or modal auxiliary, if any. Okay, so here the primary auxiliary is. Okay, so repeat it in the tag. So is comes repeated in the tag, and then we have replaced the full stop with a comma. Positive sentence take negative tags. See, she is an athlete, which is a positive sentence, so we used isn't instead of is not, which is a contraction for is not. Okay, and then we close the question tag with the subject, that is she. The subject comes at the end. Okay, and number two, he is not reliable. Okay, in this case is it's a primary verb, primary auxiliary, which comes repeated here. And then look at this not, which suggests that the entire sentence is a negative sentence, so the tag is positive, which means we do not use any expressions like not in this tag. Okay, and then finally we close the tag with the pronoun, the subject of this sentence. Question number 3. Tom does not speak English. I think now you are able to understand. Does comes here from the sentence as a primary auxiliary. Negative expression is not used because this sentence is a negative sentence, and Tom is a proper noun, the name of a person. It has to be replaced with a pronoun. Okay, as it is Tom, we used he. And number 4, the last one. Sportsmen do regular exercise. Here do. Okay, sportsmen do regular exercise. Do comes here, and as the sentence is positive, we use negative tag. So instead of do not, we say don't, which is a contraction. Okay, and sportsman is, it is this noun is replaced with by, with they. Okay, now we will look at number 5. You cannot help him. So you can see the modal auxiliary verb here, which is can. So it comes repeated in the tag, and then since this sentence is a negative sentence, we use positive tag. Okay, and then finally you can see that we use the pronoun to close the tag. Similarly, number 6, you will pass the test. Okay, see the first stop is replaced with a comma. Okay, and then next step is okay, and then you can see that there is a modal auxiliary verb here, will. Okay, so will not, we have to use will not because the sentence is positive. So instead of will not, we use the contraction. Okay, short forms like isn't, wasn't. Will not come as willin't. Instead it has to be written as won't. Okay, won't you. And number 7, children should not travel alone. Okay, should is the modal auxiliary, which is repeated here, and the sentence is a negative sentence, so the tag is positive. And children, instead of children, we use they as this is what I call as a pronoun. Okay, as a pronoun. And number 8, our parents will tell us stories. Okay, first stop replaced with comma, and then would is it's a modal auxiliary verb, so it is repeated here, and this entire sentence is a positive sentence, so we use would not and use the contraction, that is wouldn't. And our parents, instead of our parents, we use a pronoun plural form they. Okay, number 9, students were not paying attention. Okay, so will is a primary auxiliary verb, which is repeated in the tag. Okay, which is repeated in the tag, and then were not, negative expression is used, which is the reason why the tag is positive. And students as a pronoun, it has to be replaced with a pronoun, that is they, and question mark comes at the end. Number 10, the news was fake. Okay, so use of comma, please note the use of comma, and was is used repeatedly here, and this sentence is positive, so we use wasn't instead of was not. As a contraction, we use wasn't. The news, so instead of the news, we use the preposition, we use the pronoun it. Okay, and the next one, Tina has a brother. Okay, Tina has a brother. Use of comma, and then the primary auxiliary has is repeated here. Since the sentence is positive, we use negative tag hasn't, okay, instead of has not. And Tina is replaced with a pronoun that is she. Number 12, the guests have arrived. Okay, have is repeated. The sentence is positive. Now, what happens if there is no modal auxiliary or any primary auxiliary in the sentence? In this case, we use do or does or did. Okay, do or does could be used with verb present when there is a present form of the verb in the statement given, and did is used when the verb is in past tense. Okay, let's have a look at this first sentence. I think you are, okay, you think you are clever. So here think is the verb, which is a present form of the verb, so we use do or does. Okay, so here we use do because it does not have any expression like thinks. If it is he thinks, it can be does instead of do. So do not, instead of do not, we use don't, and finally we bring this pronoun here to end the tag. So don't you. Next one, he goes shopping on Sundays. Okay, so goes is the verb that's also in present tense, but instead of go, you can see an addition of es, and because of this reason, we use does. Okay, so here think there is no addition of s or es or ies, so do is used. But when it comes to this verb, instead of go, it is goes. Because of that, we use does. Okay, and does has to be changed into does not, and we use the contraction doesn't as the sentence is a positive sentence. So doesn't he? The villagers did not receive the grant. So here you can see the primary auxiliary verb, which is repeated did, and then you can also see the sentence to be a negative sentence, so positive tag is used. Okay, and then instead of the villagers, we used a plural pronoun, that's they. Next one, the boys won the match. In this case, won is the past tense of win. Okay, past tense of win. So as it is past tense, we use did because win, won. Won is the past tense of win. So we use did, and we can also see that the sentence is a positive sentence. So instead of did not, we use didn't. Okay, instead of did not, we use didn't, and the boys, instead of the boys, we use they. Okay. Okay, now we will look at some of the special expressions which have some negative meaning in sentences. Okay, hardly, scarcely, rarely, seldom, little, and few. These expressions have negative meaning, okay, and therefore they will have positive tags. For example, people hardly believe in magic. So hardly is a negative expression, and because of that the tag is positive. So believe is the present tense. Okay, so we use do, and because of hardly we use positive tag, and people, instead of people, we used the pronoun they. Little progress was made. So little has a negative meaning, so we use was it. Okay, was is already here as a primary auxiliary, that is repeated here, and instead of progress we used the pronoun it. Few candidates were selected. Okay, in the sentence, few has a negative meaning, so the tag is positive. Repeat this model auxiliary, primary auxiliary, and then instead of candidates we use the pronoun they. Okay, so please make a special note of these expressions which convey a negative meaning. Now in some sentences you can see the dummy subject, okay, with their. Okay? Here you cannot see any person in the place of subject. Okay, so in such case this dummy subject is repeated. Okay, there is a solution, so isn't there, isn't there. There was a strike, wasn't there. Both sentences are positive, so the tags are negative. There wasn't any conflict, so here wasn't, so we used was, and then there comes repeated in the tag. Okay, and in the next one, look at these expressions: someone, somebody, no one, anyone, anybody, everyone, everybody. So these sentences are something so different, because you can see someone spoiled the carpet. So someone, even if it a singular subject, please note the use of they instead of he or she. We cannot say whether it's he or she, so we use they. Okay, spoiled is the past form of spoil, S-P-O-I-L. Okay, it can be spoiled, L-E-D, as well. Okay, so someone spoiled the carpet, didn't they? Please look at they instead of someone. Okay, everyone was present. So this sentence is also another special sentence. Okay, see here we can see the primary auxiliary was, but when it is used in the tag it was changed into verb, because instead of everyone we have to use they. Okay, so all these words like everyone, anyone, no one, nobody, somebody, someone will have the tag they. Okay, so we used where because there must be an agreement between this subject and this primary auxiliary. Okay, so you say they were. So if you use here there instead of were, if you use was, there will be a problem of agreement between these two words. Okay, subject verb agreement. Number 3, anyone can attend the party. So can as a model auxiliary is repeated here, negative. So instead of cannot we use can't, and instead of anyone we use the pronoun they. So please note these expressions like someone, somebody, no one, anyone, anybody, everyone, and everybody will be a little bit confusing because we cannot use he or she. Instead we use they at the end of the tag. Now the use of tag. I am not a politician. So in this case am as a primary auxiliary is repeated here. Negative sentence takes positive tag and which comes at the end I. Okay, so there is no confusion here. But what about second sentence, I'm your close friend? In this sentence you cannot write am here. Okay, amn't I is a wrong tag. Okay, am can be used only if the sentence is a positive sentence. So in such cases, okay, sorry, in the negative sentences. Okay, so in negative sentences you can use am I, but when it comes in a positive sentence, I'm your close friend. This is a positive sentence, so the am has to be replaced with are. So instead of amn't I, please use aren't I. This is also another special case for the question tag. And the next one's the special case is with these kind of sentences which are examples of imperative sentences. Okay, imperative sentences can be a command or an order or a request or a suggestion or a reminder or a warning. All these sentences, you might have noticed, there is no subject as at all. Okay, there is no subject at all because they begin with verb or the requesting word. So if you find this kind of sentences, that is called, they are called imperative sentences. Okay, in imperative sentence, as I told you, it can be a command, an order, a request, a suggestion, or even a reminder. So imperative sentences can take this kind of tags. Okay, it can be either will you or want you. Okay, so stop insulting the poor. As an imperative sentence, will you? Trust me, won't you? Please help me with this, would you? Okay, so if it is a polite request, you can also use would you or could you. So please note the special case with tags for imperative sentences. Okay, now we have come to the end of this lesson, and this is a practice session for you. Okay, the answers to these practice questions are given in the description box, so I recommend you to do these practice questions. Okay, you can use a pen and paper and then write down your answers, and then later on you can visit the description box and check out your answers. Okay, so these questions like, you are addicted to shopping, what will come here? Isn't it, or wasn't it, or doesn't it? So they weren't a part of the regular team. You can't give it back to the owner. Let's prepare dinner. She has 2 sisters. Mom will be happy to see you. John keeps talking all the time. They haven't even bought a new car. I'm such a good swimmer. He wouldn't agree with you. Okay, similarly, you can see there are 10 more additional questions. Okay, so please do this, practice this, and then check out your answers with the given ones in the description box. Okay, so there is really nothing more to say now. We shouldn't criticize the teacher. Please pass me the sugar. You mustn't play on the freshly cut grass. You don't want him to come with us. She hardly said anything. You do have a receipt. Peter and Jenny want to be alone. You weren't ill last week. Joe eats a lot of pizza. Okay? So this is the end of this session today. Hope you find it useful. So if you like the video, please subscribe and enable the bell icon so that you will get notifications on my upcoming videos. And also, I would love to see your scores for the practice questions, those 20 practice questions, if you could put it in the comment box. Okay, we will meet again with a new topic. Till then, take care. See you. Bye bye.